So as you can see today, guys, I am out here in the glorious sunshine on a lovely, what I'd really call a summer's day. It's a great experience, but I want to speak about something a little bit more dark today, something which I saw only just last night, because today is Sunday. This is something that I saw only last night when I went into the city centre, and it is quite a disappointing thing. Now, I'm not really sure how I want to title this video, but it's going to be something along the lines of how booze and clubbing culture killed the UK. Now, that is of course a rather large statement to make, but you know what I saw last night, and by the way, this is not a one-off. I'm not someone who goes clubbing per se, but I have friends who live in the centre of the city, which is where that kind of stuff generally goes off. What you see is a lot of the time terrible. Now, we all have our fun in different ways. Some people enjoy environments like this, some people enjoy going to clubs. I personally don't. I don't find much value or fun in it, to be honest, but I definitely don't have a problem with anyone that does. I'm not going to lie, right? I'm a university student, and in my first and second years, but specifically the first year, there was a lot of fun for 18-year-old me to have in a club. You know, you're vibing to music that you may like, depending on what's playing, depending on what the night is. And I'm not someone that actually drinks. I've never really drunk. Like, literally, the amount of times I've drank alcohol in my entire life, I could probably count on one hand. So I'm not someone that drinks, but I do understand that element of it, right? You're getting a bit boozy, you might be with your friends, and it's a good environment. Now, it's normally this point where in the comment section, I get someone saying, well, you've just directly contradicted the title of your video. You've just told us that clubbing is fun and good. And I think this is where we get into the real heart of the issue, because what really is a problem with this clubbing culture? Well, naturally, if we're going to have such a bold claim, we've got to have the actual evidence to back it up. I don't necessarily need to go into details, but let's talk about the alcohol element of it first. Now, clubbing in the UK is not like it is in other parts of the world. People in the UK, when they go out clubbing, they drink to get drunk. And when I say drunk, I don't mean that they have a few glasses, get a bit wobbly, and that's it. No. I've seen, and this is in years worth of experience in this, I've seen even to the point where it's like young girls, 18, 19, are passed out from drinking. You got ambulances being called because people are dropping to the floor. It's not good. Obviously, that is not everybody, and to say that everyone's passing out is a massive overestimation. But what is true is, whether it's the passing out or just being extremely drunk, people in the UK, it seems like the booze when they're clubbing is the main vibe. It's not about the music, it's not about anything else, it's just about the drinking. Male or female, young or old, I think anyone who's been to a club in the last 10, maybe 20 years will have seen, and I basically see it every single time that I go into one, which is rare, but still, someone passed out in there or near to dropping, and it's not good. Now, they say when people get drunk, they lose their inhibitions. But these people seem to get so drunk, they lose their ability to function as humans. And it really is a shame to see. So many young people just literally blackout drunk. It seems like a real shame and a waste of potential. Now, who am I to say that? Nobody. And I do not, want my judgment to mean anything. It's not my judgment, it's just what I see. So don't think anything of that part. But it is true, right? It does seem to be a real shame of a way to waste your time. Now, for me, it's not the clubbing that's the waste of time. Again, if you are there on a night where it's music that you like, and you're with your good friends and you're having a nice time, that actually can be a real vibe. And a lot of people do still go clubbing for that reason. But I swear, the amount of times, and it's very, very often, that I have been or go to a club, and there's like this toxic culture that you see in there. The first thing that I note every single time that I go into a club is every single guy is the same guy. And that might sound like a big statement, but let me explain what I mean, right? It doesn't matter if they're young or old. It doesn't even matter, what race, ethnicity, or anything like that they are. Every single guy has got the same haircut and wearing the same clothes. I swear, I can describe the clubbing sort straight away. They've got a fade but this part's quite long. So they've got a top bit and a fade. That's always the case. They're always wearing some shirt, which probably costs an absolute fortune, but I would never recognise, and I'm not really too big into designer brands, but you get the point. Super expensive shirt. Usually jeans that look like they've got paint on, and some trainers like Nike Air Forces or something like that. And I only point out the fact that every single guy in there is the same because it kind of proves something, right? Can we really, or do we really enjoy clubbing when we're trying to conform to something so very uniform? I mean, people can and should do what they like, but two things about clubbing. Number one, the fact every guy's wearing the same outfit, looks basically the same. It's very easy to stand out in comparison, but it makes you wonder why they're all wearing the same thing and looking the same in the very first place. And number two is the sort of energy that you see from a lot of these guys in clubs. You know, I get it. It makes somewhat sense, but on the other hand, no. People do not necessarily look to someone who's wearing, you know, a shirt that's as basic as this, but it says Gucci on, and think that's amazingly cool. Some people might, but that's people who's bought into this lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that people buy into, and for a lot of people, it's keeping them poor. The drinks cost a fortune, you know. The clothing that you need to fit in or look cool is very expensive. And you will always see these guys, whether it's real or not, I'm not sure, wearing expensive watches. Again, whether it's real or not, that's a different story. But just by the way they've put themselves together, you can tell that they're buying into a specific image. Now, if you've ever met some of these sorts of guys, which I'm sure most people have, one thing, especially in clubs, you'll see this becomes extremely apparent. They're doing it for the girls, let's say. And I only say let's say because I don't think they understand. The girls that they're trying to get with, let's say, are never interested. And I don't actually blame them, because there's so many sorts of these guys. I've seen this so many times, right? If you go out with a female friend or someone like that, or maybe even your own girlfriend, and you nip off, say, to the bathroom or something, there's about 10 guys that have spoken to her since you've left. So the girls aren't interested. And also, it's not exactly a pick of the crop, is it? Because all of these guys have created themselves to look so very similar, it's not the most appealing offer, is it? Like, obviously this is not a channel rated to that sort of stuff, but in my experience I find it best to just genuinely be yourself. Like, you've got to look at it from both ends, you know. I've been getting ready with girls to go clubbing before. It's like the amount of time that it takes for a girl to get ready versus a man to get ready. They get their hair done, you know, makeup, all that sort of stuff. It's not a short process, and whether that's wrong or right is a different subject. But you know, what I'm saying is that's not the reason why a lot of girls go there. But it does seem to be the reason why almost all guys go there, and I think that kind of speaks to clubbing culture in a way. Another thing that I hear in reference to clubs is, it'll be fun when you've had a couple of drinks. Now, I don't know about you, but I've got hobbies, right? I ride this bike, I walk in the woods, I do this sort of thing. That's what I like to do. These are my hobbies. Look down here at this beautiful river. I don't know if it'll be shown on camera, but there's a river down there. You know how, and you can see it on this side actually as well, you know how drunk I have to be to enjoy this river? 0%. You know how drunk I have to be to feel the sun blazing on my back whilst I walk down this road, which I should be cycling down, but I'm filming a video? No percent drunk, 0% drunk. It's free, and to me, it's fun. Is it anyone's cup of tea? Is it everyone's cup of tea? No. But we all have our hobbies, and we don't need to be drunk to enjoy them. People who unironically say you need to have a few drinks to enjoy it, I think they're telling everything that even they think about clubbing. It shows that even they don't enjoy it. So how fun is it really, you know, when you think about it like that? I don't think a lot of people actually genuinely enjoy it. I might be wrong, but I think just by the way that when I go in there, which is rare like I say, but the fact that most of the guys are wearing the bang same outfit, they've got the same haircut, got the same vibe, if you will. The fact there'll be 10 men crowding around one woman, and that sort of thing. I feel like it's more about being sold a lifestyle. Squirrel on the tree. Don't know if you saw that one, but yeah. Yeah, I think it's more about being sold a lifestyle. And it's not really even a good one. Not really. You know, we go to the club, we have a few drinks, or in a lot of cases, we have a lot of drinks. You know, we chat to some girls, we show off everything that we've got in a club. Like, I do get it, to be honest, to an extent, because, again, when that is the popular culture, that's what people are going to buy into, hence the term popular culture. But it doesn't necessarily make it right, or good, or genuinely fun. If you want to have a good time, you've got to find out and understand and be honest about what you genuinely like. That can be a hard thing to do because, you know, we might have our personal geeky interests or things like that. But being honest with ourselves is a much better recipe towards success than lying and buying into a brand image that, well, we don't really even believe in ourselves. But that is kind of the what, if you will. That's the problem with clubbing. The problem with clubbing, to summarise, is it's a brand image or a lifestyle image that isn't necessarily in people's best interest. So it creates a vibe from people that, well, isn't really the best. You see people making stupid financial decisions, you know, causing unnecessary disruption to their own lives and to the world and whatnot, and to the environment around them a lot of times as well. For something that they believe will give them an increased status. And in my opinion, that's killing the UK in a way, because a lot of times, whilst it is older people that also go clubbing, it's marketed towards the young people. The people who perhaps haven't had time, might be a better way to word it, who haven't had time to discover that the best way to go about life is being your honest self. It's marketed to these people. But the trouble is, these young people are our future. And a lot of people grow out of it, but a lot of people don't. It would be a much better thing for people if at a young age, instead of being told, you know, waste time, get drunk, get with as many girls as you can, wouldn't it not be a better message to say, build something of your life? Have something that when you're 40, you can look back on and be proud. Again, it's just my personal thoughts on it and my personal views on it. But for me, I just think if we're talking about what's long-term good for our country, what's long-term good for us as individuals and our society, wouldn't we want to instill a message of positivity, of genuine status, of genuine meaning, of genuine happiness? And I said it before, it's not the clubbing per se that's the problem. If we're referring to clubbing as going to a nightclub, sitting with your friends, you know, your partner, your family, whatever, whoever it is that's your clubbing partners, that's a good vibe. When we mix this with copious amounts of alcohol alongside again a message which is unsupportive to our finances, unsupportive to our mental well-being and the like, that's when I think we start to get problems. It was interesting because in the last 3 years, due to being a student, and would it be something I did now? Maybe, because I did still learn a lot, but I went clubbing with quite a few people, to be honest. And, you know, whether that be in the club or outside or in some bar before or afterwards, I've spoken to a lot of people from foreign countries, mainly other European countries actually. And, you know, I like to try and get a kind of rounded view on the world. And the best way to do that, whilst it's great to travel to places, you know, you might end up only seeing the touristy places. So I always find it interesting to ask these people, do you do clubbing in your country? And if you do, what is it like? And this question is one that I've received many a different answer to. For the most part, I hear one thing's common though. When people go clubbing in European countries or even Asian countries as well, one trend from the people that I've spoken to at least is apparent. It does involve booze and drinking, but it doesn't revolve around it. But I guess the point is, it's the difference between perhaps one or two and many drinks. And that's the difference. One's about having fun with your people. One's about having fun with your people, getting drunk, sometimes even getting hospitalised. And somehow that's a good night. I mean, I think one of those experiences sounds a little bit more wholesome. Actually quite a lot more wholesome. And whether that's done in the UK or otherwise, I think that's a vibe that and I think generally as a society, we should aspire to a bit more. Why does it revolve so heavily around alcohol and drinking? Now, the answer could obviously revolve around the way that our society specifically is shaped. You know, here in the UK, people work hard, and it's not even necessarily because they want to. The cost to live here is high. And maybe that's people's escapism. Me, I'd personally look to solve the issue. You know, I wouldn't try to booze it away, because you wake up and you're broker than you were last night, and now you've got a headache and now you're sick. To me, it doesn't make sense. But of course, I'm not judging. People do what they like. It just isn't how I'd play the game, and it isn't how I play the game. It's never how I've played the game. I've experienced some elements of the clubbing culture, but the whole concept of it as a long-term aim for fun has never made sense to me. That's all, really. I don't think it's a good message for our young people. And my opinion doesn't mean anything, right? I'm just sharing my views here on this channel, that's all I do. But that's my views on this one, so maybe that was an interesting video for you guys, maybe it wasn't, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you again in a future episode. Goodbye.